Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZS Caravallo from ZK Research, and I'm joined today by Sam Wilson, the CEO of 8x8. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Love being with you today.
Before we get into some of the content, just a quick intro on yourself. You've got a long history in different parts of tech. So give me the 10-second bio on Sam Wilson, who you are.
Was in the military, left the military, went to work in the semiconductor industry as a global product support engineer. So I started on the support side. I know what it means to fly around the world and get yelled at by customers. Got an MBA, went to Wall Street, analyzed tech companies for 15 years. Ended up leaving Wall Street and going to a software company, Mobile Iron, where we did mobile security, took it public, et cetera, and really fell in love with the SaaS business model. And 2017 transitioned to 8x8. And then here I've been everything from running sales to running chief customer officer, chief financial officer, and chief executive officer. Love this business because as I was driving down the street with one of my colleagues the other day in a foreign country, and he said, why are you at 8x8? And I pointed out the window and said, because they need our products, 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 and so on. I love the fact that we sell a product that's ubiquitous. Every business in the world needs to communicate.
Yeah, and actually, let's start off there. Why you went to 8x8? Obviously, you're very well accomplished, and if you point to companies that need your product, you could say that about any of the competitors in your space, right? Now,
Sure.
when I look at 8x8, though, tell me a little bit about the history of the company, because I think the innovation at 8x8's largely been kind of flown under the radar. When I look at 8x8, you were the first to bring UCaaS, CCaaS together. I think you were, in fact, one of the first companies to try and actually standardize messaging, which, like, frankly,
Right.
still hasn't happened, right? And things like that. And so what was it about 8x8 that attracted you to it?
Well, okay. So back was Vic Verma was the CEO at the time.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I didn't say the people and the challenges. I have tremendous respect for Vic, and my coworkers back in the day, Mary Ellen Genovese and others, Dan Deklich that I worked with, just tremendous respect for my coworkers and the market opportunity. I mean, this was back 2017, on-prem to cloud, still was the dominant trend at the time, still an important trend today. The dominant trend at the time, such a massive opportunity. And the incumbent vendors, Avaya, Nortel, ShoreTel, Mitel, all the tells,
All the
LG, Atos, Siemens, etc. None of them made the move to cloud. They allowed a whole new host of vendors, Five9, RingCentral, 8x8, and so on, all come out of the woodwork and really in contact, I can go on and on, really come out of the woodwork and create a category to replace this. And that was super interesting. You have this massively ubiquitous product, a changing market making it to the cloud, and a fun group of people who really wanted to tackle that challenge. In terms of 8x8, the history of the company, wow. It's both a blessing and a curse. Sometimes we're a 36-year-old, 37-year-old startup, but originally started as a chip company, integrated something technologies on the wiki page. In the mid-90s, early 90s, converted to the name 8x8 because it got into video conferencing and chips for video conferencing, then used the chips to make video conferencing, then got into residential voice over IP, and really the first kind of transition from a chip company to a SaaS business model, then transitioned from residential VoIP to UCaaS, then added CCaaS, then added CPaaS. And what I would say today, what are we today? We're a software company that specializes in business communications. More than anything, we're a software company. I believe we are judged more than anything on our software. Do we build great software? Do we handle, are we a good strategic partner for software? But focused on customer communications. We do UCaaS, CCaaS, CPaaS, all blended versions of those. And it's a little bit of my dream as we think about the company, especially around our rebranding and some of the other things we've done recently, that we drop those labels. Because I think those labels are the things that we, the vendors, have put on them, on the products, but it's not actually most of the time the way the customer thinks about it. The customer thinks about it as they have a specific problem.
Now, to defend you, though, in the vendor community, it is also the way the MQs and waves and things are laid out.
Yeah, of course.
So if you're not, if you try and be more than that, then you get penalized in the MQs and waves, and it's an interesting situation because I do think I'm not to be anti MQ here, but I do think they're a little rear facing, where customers often are more forward facing, and it's tough for a company like you to be able to marry the two.
Well,
Now,
look at I mean, not to pick on Gartner, but I mean, the most recent MQ for contact center, almost every single vendor in the space sells UC, right? But there's a
yeah,
separate UC one. I mean, this is starting to get a little, I mean, shouldn't you at some point, and Twilio sells contact center, Flex. We
yeah,
sell messaging, but we're not is that in a completely separate category? And then don't get me started on the whole bot thing. We sell
yeah,
bots, they sell bots, but there's a separate category for bots. And
yeah.
uh,
Yeah, but then they'd sell less MQs. Now, as you mentioned, though, you did go through a recent rebranding. Talk about that. What was the motivation for that, and what does the brand stand for today versus what it might have stood for before?
yeah. Okay. So I and the management team really worked on transforming the company starting a few years ago. Fuse was the beginning of that, and then we really accelerated it as we exited 22 into 23. And that is, we wanted to go from being a voice, video, and chat for employee collaboration to a CX company. We think there's a big secular trend around customer engagement, and we think that's where our technology is best used. And so the front end of that was we developed a whole bunch of products around CX. We sell 9 separate product categories today, separate product lines today, and all around CX. We've got tremendous traction. So last quarter, 60% year-over-year growth in new products, 200% year-over-year growth in the number of AI-based products we're selling, those kinds of really fast numbers. And so we thought it's now time to have the messaging and the branding and the tagline and all those kinds of things match what we've been building internally. We thought to do it before we had any proof points, then it was a little bit aspirational. Hi, I'm Sam Wilson. I'm an Olympic athlete. No, you're not. Okay. Maybe you get to the Olympic trials before claiming you're an Olympic athlete, right? So we wanted to get to that point. And now that we feel like we really have the proof points of product market fit and those kinds of things around where we're going, we wanted to share that with the world. And that was really the genesis of the rebranding. And, we'll do more of that. We're out there to activate how we think about the world from a CX and a customer engagement standpoint.
And so how do you want the brand to be perceived? As a CX brand?
Yes, we are a CX company. Our number one thing is we sell a host of products that allow you to engage successfully and well with your customers. Now, does that mean we sell UCaaS? Yes. It doesn't mean we sell other pieces of the pie. Sure, you can use them in all kinds of ways. When you collaborate well with your customer, you can collaborate well with an internal employee, with each other, et cetera. Yeah. But really, if you look at the new things we've added, engage, customer engagement for non-contact center employees, PCI compliance, workforce management for the contact center, enhancements to the contact center, proactive outreach, one-to-many, one-way, two-way messaging capabilities into your contact center. These are all around engaging with your customer.
Yeah, and so the fundamental tenet of my research, Sam, as long as I've been an analyst, has always been that share gain opportunities happen when markets transition. And obviously, AI is this big transition everybody's talking about. But from my conversations with you, and it seems that you believe there may be, what's going on in the CX space that might be another transition happening that's probably not being addressed by a lot of your peers.
Okay, so our belief of the company is, 1999, 1998 or whatever, to 2020 was the growth of the acquire new customers age, the CRM age, the marketing automation age, the marketing operations age, the lead enhancement age. Silicon Valley and corporate America corporate world spent a ton of money on acquiring new logos, building products to acquire new logos, payment systems, e-commerce systems, I can go on and on and on. Somewhere around 2020, 2021, we, in our conversations with venture capitalists, we're a Silicon Valley-based company, conversations with venture capitalists, really started to pick up that there's been a change. And the aha moment for me was I read this survey from PricewaterhouseCoopers. They surveyed 18,000 global consumers. 1 in 3 will leave a brand they love after one bad customer support experience. Mm-hmm. And I think there was an aha moment for corporate world that retaining customers is as important as acquiring new customers. So they had spent 20 years and gadzooksly large amounts of money figuring out how to acquire customers. At the same time, they were only focused on costs when it came to their CX solutions. I have a contact center. Contact center is 60% of my customer interactions go through my contact center. So I am moving that to a developing country and I'm stripping out all its costs. And I think based on McKinsey or others, we saw a 20-year decline in spending on contact center. One of the figures I like to throw out is based on 2023 Bureau of Labor and Statistics data in the United States. The average contact center worker makes $18.31 an hour. The average hourly employee makes $33 an hour. So your contact center workers, the things that are engaging with your customers, are paid almost 40% less than an average hourly worker, right? This is like, because suddenly everybody realized, well, wait a minute. If 1 in 3 leave a brand they love after one bad customer support experience, what are we doing here? This is the definition of insanity. We're spending a tremendous amount of money acquiring customers. And let's be clear, customer acquisition cost has increased over the years. Spending less money, and we're bleeding them out at the bottom because we can't retain them. They don't become regular customers, not reordering. And so the big transition, I believe, is this is as important as AI in my mind for us as a company, is that corporate world is realizing that retaining customers is worth spending. If you're going to grow as a company, you're going to grow on the back of your regular customers. You're going to grow on the back of your renewal rate or reorder rate. That's the key. You don't want thousands of dissatisfied customers running around telling everybody on social media what a terrible company you are. It is hard to grow your business if that's happening. And so I believe there is a big I'll make the statement, a 20-year trend that corporations are going to spend a lot of money on improving how they engage with their customers because they know it's next to impossible to have sustained growth without great customer engagement.
You know, it's by the way, the data point of 1 out of 3 it does vary quite a bit by age demographic as well. I've got similar data. In Gen Z and Millennial, 2 out of 3 leave after a single bad experience. Once you get into the older worker category, they're a little more forgiving. Maybe we're
right, and we didn't even get into. I mean, what's the other trend? Sort of below that trend is you need to meet customers where they are today, right? So to your point, you mentioned age demographics, it's super important. I've seen figures that say over the age of 45, people want a voice call. Under the age of 45, they want a digital interaction. And I just know my son's 20. And when I tell him to do one of 2 things, it's literally like he gets hives. Call them, or in the case of his bank or something else, just go into the branch and talk to a human being. He's like, isn't there somebody I can text? And I'm like, banks don't work like that, my friend. Like you got to like actually go in and physically see the teller. And like, so yes, there's like, not only are we like customer engagement's more important, the routes to engaging with customers have completely fragmented over the last 20 years. I mean, when did Facebook come into existence? 2008, 9, 10, I don't know, somewhere in that. I'm a little old, right? I don't exactly remember, but Facebook, LinkedIn, X, Telegram, Signal, WhatsApp, I mean, all these capabilities we have. I mean, this is a really complex problem, and companies are going to spend money because they need to be good at these things.
Yeah. Now, when you talk to customers, what kind of CX problems are they having right now, though? Like, obviously, a lot of customers are looking to change their contact centers, are looking at AI, things like that. But from my experience, and I'm sure yours is too, they don't. Nobody buys technology for technology's sake, right? They're trying to solve certain problems. And are you seeing more today, at least, still a focus on labor reduction? Are they trying to get more to the people they have? Are they aware of this retention problem? Like when you talk to customers, what are the big contact center problems they're having right now?
Yeah. Okay. So look, it's such an insightful question. Wow. Such an insightful question. I would say almost every contact center leader I've talked to in the last 2 months, and I've been on the road a fair amount, number one issue remains the same issue as last year, the year before, and the year before. Their average attrition is 35 to 40%. And like you need to be in a business of hiring and training agents nearly continuously. And here you are, you're trying to offer great customer service because that's what you're graded on and your boss really wants it. And your employee base is just constantly turning. I mean, it's just an amazing number. And so things like agent assist and bots and whatever absolutely make retention and training of employees better. We find in places where we deploy AI technologies, higher agent retention, lower attrition than in places we don't, because their jobs become more interesting and usually are higher paid. The menial nature of the job goes away. And I think that's super important. Number two is, I find right now, and I'm not sure I have the right words for this, that a lot of customers are very focused on business outcomes. So let me give you a product that I think fundamentally changed the game for 8x8, Remote Fix. We launched not a UC product, not a contact center product. We launched a product called Remote Fix. Now, what is Remote Fix? Well, it's one part UC, one part contact center, one part video elevation, one part SMS messaging or WhatsApp messaging. It's a bundle of products, but it's specifically focused on field service organizations.
Yeah.
We have seen customers with a 35% reduction in the number of truck rolls because they deployed this suite of products. That is, when I walk into it, I mean, it's a true story. 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was in front of a customer and I started talking about Remote Fix and I said, what would you do to get a 35% reduction in the number of truck rolls? And he said, like, I would sell my kids. I mean, are you kidding me? That is a game changing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a 5% reduction in the number of truck rolls, I'm getting 3 promotions. He goes, literally, I have to call like BS. And I was like, here's the references, like call them. Like they'll tell you that. And so what I find from customers today is that's what they want. They want a strategic business partner that comes into them, understands their business and says, I can deploy this technology to make your business more successful. Healthcare, right? We have voice bots, chat bots, et cetera. We do a lot of appointment management for healthcare. Now, part of that's bots that's doing scheduling, self-service an appointment, change an appointment, reservation, but part of that's SMS messaging, et cetera, to ensure that there's a reminder and a follow-up and those kinds of things. That's really powerful because people are finding, let's say a restaurant. What is the most important thing? Is every table full every moment that restaurant is open. That's their fixed thing, right? And their profitability, they have a number of employees, but their profitability is 100% based on the utilization of those tables. And if we can come in and say, deploy this suite of technologies and you can fill more tables every night, they're like, I'm in. I think the Wall Street's obsessed with the number of agents because of AI and all these kinds of things. We're just not seeing that. Look, in some instances, do they need a couple less seats of contact center? Sure, but they need a hell of a lot more seats of bots and other capabilities. Yeah.
Well, this is an interesting question. And so a lot of people ask me this. Well, in fact, I think if you look at the capital markets, one of the big myths out there is that, and frankly, Sam, I think this Wall Street in some ways hates the segment right now because they believe that AI is going to kill all the agents out there. And from what I've seen, and I'd like to get your feedback on this, most contact centers are largely understaffed. And if you could handle the overflow with AI, keep the number of agents the same. So there may be some compression over time, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's a near-term trend. I'm curious what as you've gone in there and you've deployed AI, how has that impacted the labor costs the company's been dealing with?
So I will tell you. So let me boil it this way: let's say over the next 5 years, do I think there will be? If a contact center today is 100 seats of agents, 100 concurrent agents, 5 years from now, it'll be 96 concurrent agents. But those 96 agents will be paid more because they will be more specialists and have more knowledge and more stuff. They're not going to be setting appointments. They're going to be actually dealing with problems. Number one. And number two is the total spending of that contact center is going to increase. The total spending of that contact center is going to increase. It's just going to be different. It's not going to be all seats. It's going to be seats plus bots, plus agent assist, plus SMS messaging, plus WhatsApp messaging, plus.
Yeah. Well, and also the other trend too, and I'm curious, like, and I think you guys have maybe done this better than anybody, is it's not just agents that use contact center seats today too. And so while you might see that number reduce in aggregate, you're also selling to, I mean, you've got a front desk product, you've got a frontline worker product, you got a sales product. And I think when you look at the number of additional employees that are using ZKast today, I would imagine that's going to outweigh whatever compression you see on the service side. Or am I thinking about that right?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And by the way, the place I'd least like to be is an on-prem contact center vendor, right? They are going to see seat compression because that's going to move to the cloud. Remember, like, I'm just saying one contact center aggregate. If you're talking about the industry is going to have more. Like, I guarantee, I would bet my paycheck for the next 5 years that every year the number of cloud contact center agents increases every single year. I will take anyone on Wall Street's bet to the other side of that. Bring it on. Because on-prem to cloud is still alive and well, and there are millions of on-prem contact center seats.
Yeah.
These technologies that we are talking about, agent assist, voice bot, chat bot, PCI compliance, whatever, all these technologies are easier to deploy in a cloud environment. And therefore, you are going to continue to see cloud replace on-prem, and you're going to continue to see growth in the number of total cloud agents.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty safe. In fact, I think right now in aggregate, there are more on-prem seats than there actually are cloud seats. So there's certainly a lot of runway to go. Now, you had mentioned the two-letter word that everyone talks about, which is AI, right? And there's a lot of things AI could do. We've seen some pretty cool demos of, virtual agents that can replace people. There's agent assist tools, there's management tools. What's been the low-hanging fruit for you? Where have customers been using it most, and what's the value they've gotten from it?
So the first three areas that I would say we're seeing the low-hanging fruit is translation, transcription, and summarization. Okay, so like, I think it's amazing that in the last 2 years, we've taken a digital agent, a chat agent, and enabled that agent to speak 32 languages. I think that's the coolest stuff in the world. The other day, I was meeting with one of my employees, and I was showing him some stuff that we do. We use OpenAI for parts. We use Llama or Facebook Meta Llama for parts, whatever. But we've known OpenAI for years. And I showed him something, and he's like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I was like, "Now watch this. Give me the same answer in Cantonese. Give me the same answer in French. Give me the same answer." And that's built into the product, right? Our agents can speak 32 languages. Remember, you got to meet the customer where they are. If English isn't your native language and whatever, Spanish isn't your native language, great. We can do it in Portuguese. And by the way, everybody that speaks Spanish, the first time they hear Portuguese, think they can speak it, and then within about 3 minutes realize they can't.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, transcription, I would argue, and I will state this, increasing, we have the best transcription accuracy of any vendor. We have spent a lot of money in-house developing great transcription, because summarization, because anti-fraud, because agent training, and all those kinds of things all depend on the quality of the transcripts. Easy place for vendors to skimp on money because great transcription is expensive. We include it in the platform as part of the product, because let me tell you, everything downstream will work way better if you got your trans. And so that's a lot of AI technology we've spent on that. And then summarization, right? Which is kind of the use case, but I have summarization throughout the entire platform. You want to summarize your chat messages, summarize a video call, summarize an agent, summarize 10 phone calls together, a summary of summaries, all those kinds of things, all in the platform, all available today as part of these. Those are the low-hanging fruits. The whole Gen I, AI, 1 in 3 will leave a brand they love after one bad customer support experience. Let's say your bot, your beautiful bot that you spent God knows how many billions of dollars developing is wrong 10% of the time. And so are you really going to bleed out 10% of your customers every day? Like, I mean, 10% of the phone calls that come in every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Every day? I mean, come on. This thing needs to be 99.999% accurate. And I don't know if you've seen the hallucinations recently, but I don't like glue on my pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Now, every vendor tends to say they're the most accurate. How do you compare one versus the other? Or what advice can you give customers on how they should go about doing that? Because I hear this from every vendor, we're the most accurate.
Do you? So, we're contracting with an outside firm to benchmark all the vendors, and I'm hoping to bring that to market and make that available as part of my marketing. But we're using an outside firm to benchmark it, and that's where I got that data from. They just haven't finished the formatting of the report and everything else. I think what's interesting is by the way, what customers should do more than anything is not trust the vendors. Don't trust me, don't trust any of my vendors. Take your transcripts, or your calls, take your audio, your MP4 files, take your files, go get them, spend extra money to get them perfectly transcribed. Then take those calls and drop them into the transcription engine and then do a red line comparison between the two. Because I will tell you, we're all good at English. We're all good at English. American English. We're pretty good at the Queen's English. Oh, wait a minute, West London? Hold on a sec. Scotland, forget about it. Australian, ooh, that gets rough around the edges, right? And then don't even get me started on the, Puerto Rican Spanish versus Mexican Spanish versus Spain Spanish, right? So we've taken a lot of time and effort worrying about those problems.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you said that because that's always my advice to customers: just test it on your own data, right? Yeah. There's no better way to try it than see if it works than test on your own data. And too often, I think customers rely on these vendor reports, and I'm sure every vendor can come up with a scenario where they're more accurate. Choose the right language, choose the right, the right script, and you can do that. So I was glad you said that. Now,
when we released our latest transcription technology, and I'm telling you, we spent a lot of time and effort trying to get this right. My favorite was a customer in Scotland sent us a note and said, "This is absolutely amazing. My mind is blown, and I'm using it for things I've never used it before because it's so damn accurate." He's actually doing anti-fraud. They can now look for specific keywords and specific phrases typically used by fraudsters because it's so accurate in Scottish. Super proud of my team. I sent them all pizza for lunch. I was so proud of the results.
Yeah. Now, when I look at the CX, the pivot to CX, right, that hasn't been lost on a lot of your competitors, right? Every UCaaS vendor is now a CX vendor. Every CCaaS vendor is a CX vendor. And every company that's even remotely associated with the customer is a CX vendor. And so what do you feel are 8x8's areas of strength? Like what makes 8x8 unique when compared to the dozens of other vendors out there?
Okay. It's a great question. Kind of a layup for a CEO. I just want to let you know it's a very kind question to ask. So I will tell you, in software, I believe the true differentiation that we will find is twofold. Number one is that we are very focused on being intimate with our customers. So we want to be I want to be a strategic partner to my customers. We have spent a lot of money the last 2 years radically improving post-sale support. Radically improving post-sale support. Our retention rates right now are the highest that I can't say highest in recorded history because I don't know, but we've got data going back 6-7 years, the highest we've ever had in the last 6 or 7 years. And because I believe that that's where trust is built. There's a lot of false promises made by technology companies historically. And so really we want to differentiate first and foremost on becoming that strategic trusted advisor, strategic partner, however you want to say it, with customers. The second thing is there's this great book called Digital Hesitation. If you've never read it, I'll send you a copy if you want. But in it, it talks about this so well, and it's the same thing that we see in the marketplace, is that, and I'm going to use an analogy they use in the book. What the vendors want to sell you is plywood, bricks, concrete, nails, etc. But what the buyer wants to buy is a house. They want to buy a place to live. They're looking for a business outcome. And the disconnect, the product gap historically has been in that space. What I want to do as a company is I may not make the plywood. I may buy the plywood from a partner, but what I'm going to deliver you is a house. I'm going to deliver you the outcome. And that is what we are focused on more than anything. We are not focused on giving you a bunch of Lego blocks and a set of instructions, maybe, maybe not. We're actually focused on giving you an integrated product. Our bots are fully integrated in our contact center. If the bot has a problem, transfer to an agent, transfer back to the bot, do all those kinds of things. PCI compliance deeply integrated into the product. All of our CPaaS technologies are all integrated into the contact center product or the UC product so that you can send SMS messaging to remind everybody of their appointments, those kinds of things. They can respond back. I think it's so cool. You can send out an SMS message that says, hey, there's a reminder you have an appointment tomorrow. Please confirm. And you can respond back with, oh, shoot, I can't make it. And we'll automatically give that to an agent that will begin to communicate with you by SMS. This is what we're offering. What we're offering is not all of it's ours. I'm very clear about that. But what the integration of the technology is ours. The outcome of the technology is ours. And I believe we are fundamentally differentiating ourselves as a technology company. If you've ever seen Finding Nemo, I tell this to my employees all the time, right? Technology companies are the seagulls in that story. Me, 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 me. Okay. But that's actually not what the customer wants. What the customer wants to hear is you, 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 you. And that, I believe, more than anything, will differentiate 8x8 over time.
Yeah, actually, Sam, that should be a layup for CEOs. But generally what I get is we have the best AI engine. We got the best product. And so I was glad to hear you actually I thought you were going to describe it in product. And so I was pleasantly surprised.
This is software. Anything I'm the best in, one of my competitors can throw 15 Scrum teams or 20 Scrum teams at, and maybe they'll have a better one 3 months later. And look, this is a never-ending treadmill. Any technology company that says they're the best is the best today. December, whatever. At this time, we are the best this moment. We have the best transcription engine right now, I believe, in the entire marketplace right now.
Yeah.
Might not be in a month. But I think about a lot about that implied promise. This is why brand is so important, right? Brand is that implied promise. If we become that vendor that people trust and believe in and deliver the outcomes that are expected, that is insurmountable. And that means, look, we are not perfect. We will stumble. But if we acknowledge our stumbles, step up, and always strive to do right by the customer, it'll take care of itself. One of the things I'm proud of is we have a 5.9s SLA, money backed. And when we have screwed up for whatever reason and violated SLA, we write checks. We don't ask them to invoice us or argue with them, or it's not really an SLA. We screwed up, we write you a check. That's our penalty to pay.
Yeah. All right. So you made the pivot to CX to a CX brand. You're focusing more on customer intimacy, it sounds like, and solving their problems.
Yep.
What's next for 8x8?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we've gone from 2 products to 9 products over the last 2 years. Right now, we're working on getting any gaps filled in those 9 products. I'm not looking to go into 18 products. There's 2 other areas we're looking at kind of on the periphery. Maybe some stuff around mobility is maybe an example.
That's a big gap in this industry. For whatever reason, nobody seems to focus on mobility if you're in UCaaS or CCaaS.
When we built Engage, we built it mobile first. So if you think about a nurse or a field service person or a school teacher, whatever, they are not physically sitting at a desk, yet they're dealing with customers. And so when we built Engage, we built it mobile first. And I think there's something more about pushing that envelope around mobility. So that's something we're very actively looking at. There's some other little tidbits. I don't want to, it's still early on, and I don't want, if I kill it later, I don't want to be like any panic or whatever. But really now it's about filling in the gaps, right? Making sure we get the medical records integration for the healthcare use cases, or the service Titan integrations for field service, and that continued thing of more and more integration, more and more of a combined outcome platform result.
Yeah, and so put your vision hat on. So imagine you're John Chambers back in '95 when he talked about the internet changing the way we work, live, learn, and play, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever horizon you want to go to, what does the CX space look like? Like if I'm a customer, how am I interacting with the brands that use your product?
Okay, so I'm going to give you two parts to this. Part of it is our long-term vision, and part of it is the space. So I think the space will look a little bit like the CRM space. So you've got Service Cloud and Sales Cloud and whatever, if I use Salesforce vernacular or HubSpot or Zendesk or whatever. But it'll look like there'll be multiple vendors, each that has developed a solution that's focused on an ideal customer profile. That is a bit of a platform. Things run through it. If you go, force.com has all kinds of things plugged in through it. At the center of that will be the business communication side of the house. And I think that's incredibly important. I think it's incredibly important because we have a vision around a thing we call CIDP, Customer Interaction Data Platform. I am not trying to compete with Snowflake. I'm not trying to compete with a Segment from Twilio or any of those vendors. However, I believe that if you really think through what 8x8's offering, we can SMS, WhatsApp, Signal, Viber, voice, contact center, engage, etc. We can cover every customer interaction, plus or minus. We're getting pretty darn close. And so all the bots, everything, and we'll have a single data platform for all interaction that we can then, you can run analytics against, of course, but then really you're going to export to a CDP, which is now going to bring the concept of customer interaction and business results together. And I think my dream is, okay, do we have a higher renewal rate if we video conference versus have a phone call? Do people generally call you and let you know you're in trouble before they don't renew or don't reorder? Did the person, there's a great example. I'm just using this as an example, right? Of like where I think we could go. 1 in 3 will leave a brand they love after one bad customer support experience. Sure. Follow-on question someone asked was, when is it they send you a coupon? Oh, wait a minute. If I had a bad customer support experience and I get a coupon within 24 hours, I'll overlook the bad customer support experience. Yeah. Okay, that's some amazing stuff right there. I want to offer the capabilities. I'm not going to be a couponing company, but I want to offer the data and analytic platform that says if you have a bad customer voice call, a voice bot call, a bot voice chat, some situation, or this is escalated, and now we know at this moment, let's send them a coupon or let's get an executive engagement or whatever. There's a tremendous amount of power in that. So that's my vision is we have a common platform around all customer interaction because it's all business communications.
Yeah, well, that's a big challenge that I've talked to customers about, right? Because right now their sales tools are one thing, their website analytics are another, and you know, on the service side's another. You can get very differing analytics. Like if you know, you could have a great website, customers are super happy, they buy a product, and then there's a problem with it, and now they're unhappy. And so if you ask the web team, are customers happy? To say yes. If you ask the service and support, they'll say no. And then you got to go figure out which is real, right? And then figure out trying to solve that problem. And so I do think that data problem is one that needs to be addressed still.
Yeah, so that's our vision. We're gonna have a common data platform, and we're seeing like we're doing a lot. Like there's some skunk work stuff around customer journey, right? So we're looking at like, well, if they come in through chat, do you need to engage with them through chat? Or if they come in through voice, do you need to engage? Like we're seeing some of that skunkworks projects really get really interesting around the customer journey, and if you know all the interactions along the way.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Well, that was a great conversation. So CX is changing a lot. It's not all about AI, but it's certainly going to play a big role in it. And for customers out there, test the solution yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to add?
And here's to everybody in this industry, all of us, to a prosperous 2025.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to 2025. I think 2024 was the year of a lot of vision and a lot of talk, and I think 2025 is the year vendors like you and your peers, you got to prove that you can do what you say you're going to do.
I agree. And I still think there's a little bit of a holdover from the pandemic. There's a lot of buying during the pandemic. And what are we doing? Where are we going? How are we doing the CX thing? But I think 2025 is going to be a fun year.
Good. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So on behalf of Sam Wilson, the CEO of 8x8, I'm CS Caraval from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Give us a like and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast.
Definitely hit subscribe.